सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। First and the last ध्यान श्लोक। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीं अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः सुन्वन्ति दिव्यैः सर्वैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः। Now, after this, now we will chant the verses of the second chapter from the beginning to till wherever I stop. Okay? ॐ अथ प्रथमोऽध्यायः। Not प्रथमोऽध्यायः, प्रथमोऽध्यायः। धृतराष्ट्र उवाच धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे समवेतायुयुत्सवः मामकाः पाण्डवाश्चैव किमकुर्वत सञ्जय। सञ्जय उवाच दृष्ट्वा तु पाण्डवानीकम् व्यूढं दुर्योधनस्तदा आचार्यमुपसङ्गम्य राजा वचनमब्रवीत् पश्यैतां पाण्डुपुत्राणाम् आचार्यमहतीं च मूम् व्यूढां द्रुपदपुत्रेण तव शिष्येण धीमता काशीराजश्च वीर्यवान् पुरुजित् कुन्तिभोजश्च शैव्यश्च नरपुङ्गवः युधामन्युश्च विक्रान्तः उत्तमौजाश्च वीर्यवान् सौभद्रो द्रौपदेयाश्च सर्व एव महारथाः. For now, this much is enough. Let us look at these verses in detail. Where did we stop yesterday? Have you had a chance to think about that? Raja Vachanam Abravit. It is said over there. I am not making it up. Raja, the Raja, I mean de facto Raja, declarian Raja, a Raja who self-called Raja, self-proclaimed Raja, but Raja nonetheless is Duryodhana. Vachanam Abravit said the following words. So then that should be Duryodhana Uvacha, correct? How come it's not there? What?
Because he seems to be adharmi.
Yes, because the Gita will not be sullied by giving him first person speech. Yes, terrorist. There is also a definition of terrorist. I will tell you tomorrow. One that has committed 6 acts, and all 6 he had done more than once, like setting fire, arson, and then taking away other people's property, killing this one, that one, so many kinds of killings. All this he had done. So, somebody like that, and then you won't be able to say the dhyana shlokas in good conscience, because here we are praising the Bhagavad Gita as sanctity and purity personified, that which has the power to purify all the minds, and then you don't ever want Duryodhana Uvacha. Vyasa will not do it, okay? So what he said, and it is inescapable that he talked. The stupid fellow. And we have to report it because Sanjaya is the reporter, but it will be done in 3rd verse. It will be done through Sanjaya only. Okay, so it still continues Sanjaya Uvacha. And so what does he say? Hey Acharya, vocative case, Acharya, oh teacher, Pashya, look, he is directly addressing who? Drona. As Acharya. Oh teacher, teacher of what? Cooking, right?
No.
Archery. Okay. So, oh teacher of archery, that is not said, that is for us to understand. Pashya, look. Oh teacher, look at what? Etam Panduputrana. So, Pashya what? 2 things he says, Pashya, Mahadim Chamum Pashya. First thing he wants the Acharya to see is something called Mahadi Chamu. Chamu means army. And Mahadi means great army. He is now introducing the army on the other side to Dronacharya. Silly fellow, but more about that a little later. Let's look at the translation of what he is doing. Very silly man, this fellow. Okay? Cruel, narcissistic, psychopath, sociopath, and silly fellow. Okay? And so he says, Acharya, hey, teacher, look at what? Mahadim Chamum, that Mahadi Chamum is in object says Mahatim Chamum Pashya. Look at this great huge army. Whose army is it? Panduputranam Mahatim Chamum Pashya He Acharya. This is how you make it Anvaya. Means you give it in a prosaic way so that it's easy to understand. In the verse, we have the freedom to put the verb wherever we want. Not in prose. In prose also we have, but generally in poetry, for the sake of the meter, we can readjust the arrangement of the words. So, Panduputranam Mahatim Chamum Pashya. Look at the army of the sons of Pandu. Big army, great army. And that also is not quite true, because Duryodhana's army had 11 units. And the other fellows had how many? Only 7 units. A unit is called Akshauhini in Latin, correct? Yeah? No. Somebody was nodding their head. So just to check up that you are not nodding off, okay? Yeah. In which language? Akshauhini means unit? Sanskritam. Yes. Akshauhini means unit. And one Akshauhini, just to give you a little idea, consists of 21,870 chariots, elephant chariots, 21,870 chariots, 21,870 elephants, and then 109,350 foot soldiers, and 610,510 horsemen. This is one Akshauhini. Do the mathematics, not now, after class, and then find out, multiply that by 11. That was the strength of Duryodhana's army. Plus he had the Yadava army, the invincible Yadava army. Only one Yadava can kill another Yadava. That kind of an army he had. And then these people only had 7 Akshauhinis, but yet he is showing how wonderful they are, because this is all a kind of a sarcasm. Sarcastic comments are Duryodhana's forte. And so he says, He Acharya, Pandavaputranam Mahatim Chamum Pashya. Look. And then look at, and then what else to look at? He wants him to look at 2 things, I told you. One is the army, the army of the Pandavas. And then Vyudha Bhimata Tavashishyena Drupada Putrena. Please also look at the formations. Vyudha is formation. Vyudha, object case. Vyudha is formation. Various formations, like a beetle, like a horse, like a chakra. We know that's also called Vyuha. Vyuha and Vyudha interchangeable. Vyuha. So different formations are there. Like a bear, there is a way to get in and get out. And 1, 2, 3, you have to get into that formation and trap the enemy. That is how the battle was led in those days. So Drupada Putrena, who is Drupada? Drupada is the arch enemy, king, Draupadi's father, and the arch enemy of Drona. Drona's arch enemy. Why did they become enemies? Childhood promise. Very good. And then see, greed, really. And all the greedy people are on Duryodhana's side. Karna, greedy for validation. He was not greedy for money. He was greedy for validation. Somebody recognized me as a Kshatriya. You are a Kshatriya. Why are you worried? No. I have to be recognized. I have to be validated by everybody. And he fell into Duryodhana's net immediately. That was the net result of this greediness. And these are the people he had kind of lured them into the army. He took advantage of Drona's feeling of lack. I don't have money, I am a poor Brahmana. Brahmana means in those days Adhyayanam and Adhyapanam, only two things that they could do. Adhyayanam, self-study, and of course other than the rituals, I am saying whatever rituals they did. Adhyapanam, teaching other people. That's all they could do. And they could not say, like they say now, if you go to the temple, there are fixed charges. Abhisheka, 500 rupees. Just a simple flower puja, 250 rupees. And then a big puja for a big result, 2500 rupees. In those days it wasn't like that. Because there was no committees, there were no trusts, nothing. You just trusted the Brahmana that did this, and the Brahmana trusted you to give whatever you could afford. They would give some dakshina because that was part of the ritual, and in the ritual it is written, if you don't give dakshina, you will not get the goodies promised by the ritual. You want money, you have to shell out some money. You want a child, you have to shell out money. You want peace of mind, you have to shell out money. And so, whatever they received, they had to go happily. They could not keep on looking, looking for a childhood promise when somebody is 10 years old. When I grow up and have my kingdom, you can have half, okay? What is this? And then you demand, and then you teach the princes, and then he taught the Pandu princes, Dronacharya, and then when the time came for Guru Dakshina, he said, capture Drupada and bring him. Look at that. Drona had very strange ways of exacting Guru Dakshina. The story of Ekalavya is very much there. If you don't know the story of Ekalavya, Google it. Okay? Ekalavya. Google it. Or ask your friends, alright, who would know. And so he told him to bring him alive, don't kill him, bring him alive, and then after you capture him, take half of his kingdom and give it to me. He did that also. Still he is having that hatred towards, what's his name, Drupada. Drupada also is not very fond of Drona. And to avenge all his insults, especially the insult of being captured, all these things, who will stand? He is a king. And Kshatriyas have a big ego. At least the kingly Kshatriyas in those days had very big egos. They were huge kings. You could not just capture them and catch and release. You can't do that. And so he said, I'm not going to be outdone. He didn't have. It so happened he didn't have children. So he did the Putra Kameshti Yajna. Ishti means Yajna. Ishti means worship. Putra Kameshti, that's how Rama was also born. Rama and his brothers were also born by this Yajna, which promises children. And then he did that, and then he got twins, Draupadi and Drishtadyumna. Dyumna means light, resplendence. Drishta means bold light. Drishtadyumna. So Drishtadyumna. And then Drishtadyumna wanted a teacher for archery. He went to Drona, and somehow Drona, said, oh, he's so cute and he's so young, and he couldn't say no. So he accepted him as the disciple. Now, there was no reason for Duryodhana to go to Dronacharya to begin with. Dronacharya is not the commander of the Kaurava army until much later. He becomes the commander-in-chief. Not before. Who is the commander-in-chief? Bhishma, Pitamaha. And he was such a warrior. Nothing. He also had Svecha Maranam, the gift of being able to call his own death. No matter how badly injured, he was not subject to death at all. So Bhishma was the commander-in-chief. So if Duryodhana wanted to list the warriors on the other side, he should have reported to who? Let's say he got some spies to find out what is their formation, where are they standing, who is doing all the formations, etc. etc., he should have reported to his commander-in-chief. But no, he catches hold of Drona. Why? Very interesting reason. Because Bhishma, who had vowed to protect the throne, he thought he was protecting Dharma by protecting the throne. But if the throne is occupied by a terrorist, in protecting the throne, who are you protecting? The terrorist. This is not the way to go about. If you want to protect Dharma, you have to protect the one who is building Dharma. Dharmin. Dharmin means what? Like Vedant in, the one who is in Vedanta, the one who is in Dharma, the one who is practicing Dharma has to be protected. Then only you protect Dharma. But here it was opposite. They thought by protecting the throne they were protecting Dharma, no matter who occupies the throne. This is so ridiculous. That's why all the bad people are occupying the throne and getting, getting big namastes and protection from people like Bhishma. So Bhishma was squarely on Duryodhana's side because he thought he's protecting the kingdom of Hastinapura. Misled. Drona, however, Drona's heart was with the Pandavas, with Arjuna. He was still mourning the fact that there would be battle. He was looking longingly on the other side. Duryodhana must have thought, oh, he could be a switcheroo, means he could just go switch. He could switch on to the other side. And if he switched, all the morale of the soldiers will go because he is the teacher of archery. And if the teacher of archery switches sides, that too on the eve of the battlefield, this is not at all good news. So what to do? So something has to be done fast. Go butter him up means what? Flatter him up. And if you flatter him, he will feel good. So he goes to him first, full of sarcasm. He says, look at this huge army. Panduputrana Chamum, Mahati Chamum, Pashya, Drupadaputrasya, Vyudham, Pashya. Look at this formation, engineered, created, planned and put into effect by the son of Drupada, who? Drishtadyumna. And isn't he your student? He's your student, right? Look where he is fighting on the other side. If he really had value for you, if he really had value for your teaching, if he had an iota of Shraddha and gratitude for everything he had learned, which side would he be on? Our side. But where is he? On their side. That boy, look, this is terrible. And Pandavas, all of them learned from you. They should be coming here, falling at your feet and staying here. Instead, what each Pandava prince did, they went over to the other side, fell at the Acharya's feet and came back here to fight on this side. Shame on them, Duryodhana says, look. Bhimata Drupadaputrena. This Drishtadyumna is so brainy, all sarcastic, okay? Yeah, look how clever he is. Where did he get this cleverness? From you. You see, there are ways of talking. If you talk like this, what will happen? You will be fanning the flames of hatred, anger, resentment. This does not make a good ally. If you want a friend, you cannot fan the flames of hatred, resentment and anger in them and then hope to keep them as a friend. An enemy of my enemy is a friend. This is not a very good tactic, not at all. Because it just begets more resentment, that's all it does. And then what happens? So then, Drupadaputrena, Tava Shishyena, your Shishya, your Shishya, your brainy Shishya, your brilliant disciple, look. And then he continues, next one, 4th verse. Atra means here, in this context, here, what we see in front of us, Shuraha, the brave ones are here. Maheshwasaha. Maheshwasaha is, don't split the compound Mahesh plus Vasa. No. Maha Ishwasaha. Ishwasa means archers. The ones who fight with issues. Issue, bow. Ishwasa, archer. Maha plus Ishwasa. A plus E?
A.
Abba. Okay. Drink one more cup of tea before coming to class tomorrow. So, Maheshwasaha. Atra Shuraha. The brave ones. Maheshwasaha. Maheshwasaha means people who have lot of stories with their bows, what all their bows have done. And the bow has a very abiding presence in Mahabharata and Ramayana. Ramayana also breaking the bow. Mahabharata also all these bows. In fact, the people who have the right to name their bows, they are Maheshwasaha. You see, in America, maybe even in India, people name their cars. Okay? So you ask somebody what is the name of their car. In Western countries, they will have a name for the car. They must have got it from Mahabharata only. Because here, people have the name for cars, for the bows, and also for the conch shells. They have names. And only certain people can have the names for the bow. If you go making a makeshift bow with some stone, with some stick and thread found here in the ashram, you are not a Maheshwasa, okay? Yeah. Maheshwasa means somebody who can tell stories about their bow. Shuraha means very, very brave. Atra Shuraha, Maheshwasaha, Bhimarjuna Samayudhihi. So, Yudhi means in the war. In this war, Bhima Arjuna Sama, they are equal to Bhima and Arjuna. Bhima and Arjuna were the stalwarts over there. They are equal to that. Each and every one of them. And who are they? Yuyudhanaha. Yuyudhanaha, another name, Satyaki. Satyaki was a tribal chieftain, Yadava chieftain. Satyaki. A great bhakta and very dharmic person. So he was called Yuyudhana. And Virataha. Who is Virataha? Who is Virat? King Virat. His kingdom was either called Matsya Pradesha or Virat Pradesha, either way. So King Virat, whose daughter Uttara was married to Arjuna's son Abhimanyu. You see how all these connections are. So King Virat. And then, so that was Virat. And then Drupada. Drupada was there. And they are all Maharatha, another epithet for the warriors. Who are the Maharathas? A Maharatha is a person, a Maharatha is a person who can single-handedly fend off 10,000 warriors. Yes, you heard it right. 10,000 warriors while being on their chariot, while protecting their driver, the horses and the chariot, slay 10,000 people. This was called Maharatha, and all these people mentioned here, Maharatha, because this was not, they were not babies. This was not the first time they were in war. They had been in many, many battles and earned the Maharatha title. Then another, while we are on Maharatha, that's the highest title you can afford for a warrior. Then just below that is Atiratha. Maharatha, 10,000 people. Atiratha is the one anywhere between 1,000 to 10,000 who can kill and protect himself from all that, and also protect the horses, protect the chariot and protect the driver. Because if the charioteer falls, the battle is gone, this fellow will be captured. And also at the next battle, no one will volunteer to be your charioteer. So you better protect the charioteer. So this is Atiratha. 10,000, so 1,000 to 10,000 Atiratha. Actually, technically 1,000 to 9999 we should say, because 10,000 means Maharatha. Then less than 1,000 is simply called Ratha. Same thing, the one who can protect himself and all these. You don't say, oh, just 1,000. Imagine. Imagine. I mean, when you look at it from 10,000 point of view, yes, it looks like a small number. But imagine if you had to protect yourself, your horses, your chariot, and your chariot driver from 1,000 fellows marauding on you. Not easy. So these are called Ratha. And then the lowest category here is called Ardharatha. Ardharatha means less than 1,000. One who could single-handedly battle off, keep at bay, or kill and keep at bay less than 1,000 people while protecting his horses, his chariot man, and the chariot itself from getting destroyed by the enemy's arrows. So here they are not Ardharathas, they are not Rathas, they are not Atirathas. What are they? Maharathas. Huge. All of them are Sarve eva Maharathaha. And then he says, Drupadashcha Maharatha. Then he lists a few more people. Who are they? Drishtaketu. Drishtaketu is again the Chedi kingdom Raja. And then this fellow called Chekitamana doesn't have a big role in Mahabharata, but he was supposed to be a great bhakta of Krishna. And he is killed by somebody, I forgot. He's killed by, I think, Ashwatthama. But some renditions say that he was Drishtaketu. Don't confuse with Drishtadyumna. That's different. Drishtaketu, the king of Chedi, he was the Chekitana was the son of Drishtaketu. But I don't know about that. I don't know the veracity of that. And then Kashirajaha Viryavan, and the valorous, the valiant king of Kashi. What was his name? Abhibhu. Abhibhu, king of Kashi. Then we have Kunti's brothers. Kunti had two brothers. They were also on the side. They were all great warriors. And what were they? What were their names? Purujit and then Kunti Bhoja. Kunti Bhoja and Purujit were brothers of Kunti. And then we have Shaibya. Shaibya is the Devaki, not Krishna or Devaki, Devika. Yes, this one, Yudhishthira's father-in-law, Shaibya, another king. Okay, so Shaibya is there, and then we have Yudhamanyuhu, the valiant Yudhamanyuhu, and then we have Yudhamanyuhu and Uttamaujas and Yudhamanyuhu. Again, very important warriors. Uttamaujas, when you decline it in the first case, it becomes Uttamaujaha. Not to confuse it with plural, it is still singular. Like Nachiketas, Nachiketaha, like that. Okay? Uttamaujaschcha Viryavan. Then we have Saubhadraha, Subhadra's sons. Yeah. Abhimanyu and Draupadeyaha, and the sons of Draupadi. All of them are there, and all of them also are what? Maharathaha. Sarve eva Maharathaha. Uttamaujas, Yudhamanyuhu, all of them are Maharathaha. So this one, up till verse number 6, concludes the concludes the listing of the warriors on the side of the Pandavas' army. Why is it important to list the warriors? It's not. That's why we are going fast. We are not interested in their names. I mean, we are interested only because to know a little bit who's who. Because they are very important and they could. It's not easy to be a person who can protect oneself from 10,000 people. That's not easy. But the purport of introducing the warriors on this side and that side is to give an entry into Arjuna's condition and Arjuna's mind. Arjuna's mental condition, emotional condition. That is the purport. That is where we want to go. We are not interested in all these people and their histories, who they were and how they fought, which day of the battlefield they were killed. All this is available. Read the Mahabharata, Google it, Google each of these fellows and you will get at least a paragraph of information. You can do that if you like. Okay? So, but here, all this, the curiosity for us is how did Arjuna, such a great prince, himself a Maharatha, get interested in this knowledge? How did Arjuna he went from Maharatha to Mumukshu, M to M. How did he do that? How did he do that? That is where there is curiosity for us. That is something worthy of study. Because here we get an idea of who he grew up with, who were his contemporaries. These were all very big kings with big egos. But again, they were very dharmic. So that was his, what's his name? That was his entry. That's why Arjuna was also very dharmic, because all these people listed here loved dharma and were the upkeepers of dharma, no matter under what circumstances. It's easy to follow dharma when the going is good. You can afford to be very dharmic. Yes, I'll do the right thing, no problem. I'll give, no problem. But when the going is not good, when the going gets tough, what happens to the tough people? They get going. Yeah. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. This is an expression. So when one is in a stranglehold, can't go this way, there is a rock and here is the ocean and here is a terrible rock. So what do? That is when the person's mettle is tested. That is what is dharma. Dharma, that's why I said, without sacrifice, there is no chance of dharma at all. Absolutely no chance of dharma. So then, this verse number 6, along with verse number 6, we conclude what all the people, who are all the people on the side of the Pandavas. Now we go to the side of the Dhartarashtra, Dhritarashtra's son. And then he says, Asmakam tu vishishtaye.
Asmakam tu vishishtaye.
Okay, here is a small chanting tip. Would you like it? Yes. Yeah. So, think of the time it takes to say Asmakam tu, because in kam you have closed your mouth fully. Asmakam tu, you have to again open and put the tongue behind the teeth for the dental, correct? So, what the rule both for writing and chanting is that if there is no breakage, you turn the asmakam, that ma at the end, into the nasal of the kavarga. Ka, kha, ga, gha, ma. Asmakantu vishishtaye. तानि बोध द्विजोत्तम नायका मम सैन्यस्य संज्ञार्थं तान् ब्रवीमि ते chanting here संज्ञार्थं तान् ब्रवीमि ते भवान् भीष्मश्च कर्णश्च कृपश्च समितिञ्जयः अश्वत्थामा विकर्णश्च सौमदत्तिर्जयद्रथः. Yeah, here there is a Patha Bheda, right here, okay? Patha Bheda means a different rendition. So in this, that's why I borrowed this book today. In my book here, yesterday I had a feeling, because here, what verse is that? Psalm 8. Yeah, verse number 8. Saumadattis tathaivacha. How many people have tathaivacha? Yeah, half the people have tathaivacha. So, both are okay, doesn't matter. If you say Saumadattir Jayadratha, you squeeze in one more warrior, that's all. Nothing else is gained, okay? Yeah. So that's why I had borrowed this book, because there was a thing. Yeah. Two, whereas Asmakam Vishishtaha Asmakam tu Vishishtaha Tan Nibodha He Dvijottama. He Dvijottama. Dvijanam Uttama. Dvija means twice born. You can use it for Brahmana, because another birth is gained through the Munji ceremony, and which is what is that? Upanayanam, Maunji Karanam, it is called. So one birth is gained. So the Brahmana is called Dvija. A bird is also called Dvija. Why? Egg. First egg. Dvija means twice born. So second birth is through the ceremony of leading the child to the Vedas, to study the Vedas. And that is seen as a new birth. And so the bird is also called Dvija, because first it is in the form of an egg, and then again it comes cracking, the egg cracks and it comes out. It is also called Dvija. Dvijanam Uttamaha, the most exalted among birds. That is not the meaning here, okay? Yeah. What is the meaning? The most exalted among Brahmanas. Who? Dronacharya. You see, this is also another problem. His sense of lack and feeling like he was a poor Brahmana caused him to leave his dharma and become, take up arms. Study under Parashurama, and then he took up arms and became a teacher of the Kshatriyas. So this shows like a little bit of a non-contentment with his life, because in those days, that is, whatever they inherited their job from whatever the father was doing, so that they would have time for moksha. This was not based on birth, because look how easily Dronacharya changed his occupation. It was not based on birth. It was based on temperament and occupation. Guna, temperament; karma, occupation. You could change your occupation. There are other examples of lateral moves, but these moves show never a move from Brahmana to another thing. Brahmana means someone who is studying the Vedas. Very little raga dveshas, trying at least to master the raga dveshas. So, in fact, there is a verse that says, Janmana Jayate Shudra. So, in the beginning, one is full of tamas and one is full of inertia as a child. 23 out of 24, 23 hours it sleeps. And then you slowly grow to become a Brahmana, mentally a Brahmana. That is the idea. In your life, you grow to inquire into the Raga Dvesha, because the word Brahmana, Brahmani, Charati. That's what. The one who is has the Shila, the capability, the capacity to move in, to inquire about, to study Brahman. That kind of a disciplined life is called, the one who leads is called Brahmana. Okay? It's not by birth. But then here he was already a Brahmana, and then he went off to become something else, because that shows a certain, what's its name, discontent with himself and with everything else. So he wants to pump his ego up. Dvijottama, best among the twice born. Really? This shows it is flattery, because he has all but, he's all but given up his Brahmanahood, but he wants to be called a Brahmana. So, Tan Nibodha, please make a note of these. Who should I make a note of? Then, Asmakam tu Vishishtaha ye. Who are the ones that are the best and most important soldiers, that is not mentioned, the leaders, Nayakaha, the leaders of our army, my army. Mama Sainyasya Nayakaha Sanyartham Tan Bravivite. I'm going to list them. Sanya means I'm going to name them. Sanyartham. So for the sake of naming them, for the sake of introducing them to you, I am going to name them one by one. Please make a note of all the stalwarts in the army. Bhavan Bhishmascha Karnascha Kripascha Samitinjayaha Ashwathama Vikarnascha Saumadattir Jayadrathaha Anye cha bahava shuraha Madarthe tyakta jivitaha Nana shastra praharanaha Sarve yuddha visharadaha. The flattery continues. Praising continues. So the first one he lists is what? Bhavan. Bhavan is a respectful way. Like in Hindi we say aap, not tum. We say aap. In a lot of European languages also we have that. In Spanish and all we have the formal you and then the informal you. So here he uses the formal you. Revered sir, you. You, oh revered sir. Baba. In fact, he should have listed Bhishma first. Bhishma is the best warrior. But he lists him first because he wants to keep him on this side only. Baba. And then who else? Bhishma. And then Karna, another sad fellow who could not accept himself and who was very much had a difficult life, did not belong anywhere. Duryodhana said, come to Papa, I will make sure that you belong. Don't worry. You want to be a Kshatriya, I'll make you a king. And he gives him a small principality and gives him the title Raja of Anga Desha. He becomes the Raja. and then he is beholden to this one, Duryodhana. Bhishmascha, Karnascha, Kripascha. Kripa is another Acharya. Kripa is supposed to be Chiranjeevi, means he had the boon of living all the time. It is said that you can meet him somewhere. Where? Don't ask. Okay? So, Kripa is described with an epithet, Samitim Jayaha. Samitim Jayati. Samiti is what? Association. You say some kind of, Pashu Raksha Samiti. Samiti means association, a gathering, an assembly of people, here warriors. So in every Samiti, he is victorious. So he has got an epithet called Samitim Jayaha. So Kripascha, Kripa who is Samitim Jayaha, and then Ashwathama. Ashwathama, your own son. Vikarna. Vikarna, even though he is on the other side, he is really supporting it only because of some kind of filial bond, because he is the brother of Duryodhana. And then Saumadattihi, the son of Somadatta, another king. And then Jayadratha. Jayadratha is the brother-in-law of Duryodhana, married to his only sister. So these are the ones he is able to list. Then he says, Anye cha bahavaha shuraha. There are many others who are equally brave. Like who? Shalya. Shalya was actually who? Shalya is the uncle of Nakula and Sahadeva. Madri's brother is the uncle of Nakula and Sahadeva, but he is fighting on the other camp. How? He comes from Madhya Pradesha to Kurukshetra. He travels with his retinue to join on the side of the Pandavas. Then he is waylaid, and then a huge feast is arranged. Wonderful feast, dancing girls, wine, song, everything. And then he says, oh my God, I thought they were preparing for battle, but they still took out the time to make me hospitable, for their hospitality. I thank them, how wonderful. He assumed that the modest Yudhishthira had hosted this. Yudhishthira was very humble, he never came in the forefront, he was just always in the back. He must have given orders, organize a wonderful feast, make sure that nothing is spared. So he enjoyed the show, he enjoyed the meal, he was under the influence of wine. And then he said, please ask Yudhishthira to come. He thought he must be in the next tent, looking at the battlefield arrangements or something. I want to thank him. And then oily Duryodhana comes in. Duryodhana is the host. Oh no! Tricked him. And then he says, you see, I have taken away. And because he doesn't even see Duryodhana at first, because it's again twilight, and he starts thanking. He says, thank you, all my weariness of travel has gone, and I'm so happy, and it's so wonderful that you did this. And an oily Duryodhana with a smirk on his face comes out and says, actually, it's me. Shalya is shocked. He said, what? What are you doing here? Well, I hosted this whole thing for you. Shalya must have been a foodie, okay? So he was, so Duryodhana knew how to attract who. So he must have had various cuisines. Indian cuisine, Mexican cuisine, Italian cuisine, everything he must have had. Chinese cuisine, everything. And then that's how he won over Shalya. Shalya was very upset. In fact, Shalya goes crying to Yudhishthira and says, he's put me under this burden of hospitality. And Yudhishthira is so large-hearted, he says, don't worry, you be a spy. You go fight on their side, but give me information. He says, what shall I do? I have the choice. He says, be Karna's charioteer. Be the charioteer of Karna, because the charioteer is up close and personal. And he says, you can just tell him bad things, so that his morale is always down and he doesn't fight. So Shalya kept singing the praises of Nakula and Sahadeva, and Shalya kept singing the praises of Arjuna. And he said, you know, I have lived with them. Arjuna has so many missiles hidden. One day I accidentally opened the storehouse and OMG, so many things. Are you up for this battle? And Karna would just sit down in his chariot and want a drink of water. So this is how he demoralized Karna. And he did very well. But then he saw Karna, he developed an affection for Karna because 15 days he was with him night and day, taking care of him and driving his chariot. And when Karna was killed, he turned against the Pandavas fully. Very sad, no priorities, no this thing, mixed up, all mixed up in the head, in the heart too. And so then he was killed because he just became delirious with anger. And then he just rushed at the Pandavas, wanting to kill them, and then he himself had to be killed. So that was the story of Shalya. So like this, he had got hold of all the people who are not named, and he introduces them with a very strange word, strange phrase. Madarthe tyakta jivitaha. Madarthe, for my sake, tyakta jivitaha. Tyaktam jivitam yaihi. By whom the life has already been given up. And poor things, they are standing there, all of them alive. One must not talk like this. You must not talk like this because there is a power to the thoughts. If you keep thinking difficulties will come, this bad thing will happen, this will happen, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, we say in English. In the culture, in the Shastra, we have a slightly different look. We say to young children, we say, think wonderful thoughts. I mean, bad thoughts may come on their own, but then you are the Sakshi, you are the witness, you cut it and then replace it with something else, change the channel in the head. Why? Because there are Devatas. Today we were introduced to the concept of Devatas. So these little celestials, deities are there. And they know only one word. These are one-word deities. And they keep saying, Astu, Astu, Astu. What does Astu mean? So be it, so be it. Tathastu, Tathastu, Tathastu. And he's saying here, and this itself was the first inauspicious omen of the war. Along with the jackals howling, and the donkeys braying, and all these, some terrible omens were there at the time of Draupadi's disrobing or attempted disrobing. And then here, this was very ominous that he said it. These people were already killed, as good as dead for my sake. They were not as good as dead, but the words come out of the mouth and they cannot be taken back. Duryodhana may have been known for his flattery and diplomacy, but he just uttered something here that became very prophetic. All of the Kauravas were killed. That means what? We are going to lose the war because they are all going to die. So he just brought this loss upon himself in a kind of a strange, wishful thinking. Madarthe tyakta jivitaha nana shastra praharanaha. So they are carrying what? Nana shastra. There are two kinds of weapon. Astra or praharana, those that you throw like bombs, and then those that you hold to defend yourself and also what is that? You defend yourself from the enemy, and like swords. You can also hurt them, but then you also defend yourself. And so Shastra is that which you wield and fight, like swords and scabbard, etc. Astra is what you throw, Praharana is what you throw. Different kinds of missiles. Nana Shastra Praharanaha. So these people who are wielders of lots of Shastras and Astras, Sarve Yuddha Visharadaha. Visharadaha means those who have PhDs in the art of warfare. More we'll see tomorrow. Purnamadaః Purnamidam Purnat मुच्यते।
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो